This show is powered by BL3P, the Lightning-enabled European Bitcoin exchange.
Connect the world.
Christian Decker, software engineer at Blockstream, Zurich, Switzerland.
Swiss is known for its beautiful scenery, enormous mountains, and obviously raclette and cheese fondue. But Swiss is not the only country in Europe who's famous for its cheese, because the best cheese I had was produced in the Netherlands.
Sadly, no.
Lightning beer taps are very hot these days. The ones from Fumo and our very own Satoshi Radio beer tap are great examples of things that really demonstrate the use of Lightning. But is it true that you already used a self-service Lightning beer tap back in 2018?
Yes, way too much.
Black Sabbath was a British band that many consider to be the first metal band. The band went through several changes in composition over the years, with only guitarist Tony Iommi and Ozzy Osbourne remaining a constant. In 2017, the group gave a closing concert in Birmingham. Did you ever get to see them live?
Sadly, no.
Sailing employs the wind to propel a craft on the surface of the water, like a sail ship, on ice like an iceboat, or land like a land yacht, over a chosen course, which is often part of a larger plan of navigation. Is sailing the best way to clear your head?
Oh, so much, yes.
Images and videos of domestic cats are the most viewed content on the internet, and therefore described as the unofficial mascot of the internet. Is it coincidence that the first thing you bought with Lightning was ASCII artwork of cats?
No, not a coincidence.
Do you know that the title of the book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, in the United States is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone because the publisher feared that the American youth will be deterred by a reference to philosophy in the title?
I think so, yeah.
Thunderstruck is the lead single from the 1990 album The Razor's Edge by Australian rock band AC/DC. Did you cover the song already to something with lightning in it?
Not myself, but open to it.
I have turned my hobby into my profession.
Yeah.
We heard you're a big fan of meetups. You attended the very first Bitcoin meetup in Zurich all the way back in 2011, and there were only 3 other attendees. Are these meetups always that busy?
Oh, they're incredibly busy. We're now up to 5. Oh no, they're much bigger now.
Are you Satoshi Nakamoto?
No.
Welcome to the Connect the World weekly podcast. I'm Edward.
And I'm Stef. We are ready to take you with us into the beautiful world of the Lightning Network.
Enjoy the ride. This is episode 52 of Connect the World. I was thinking about a number. Stef, good to see you again, man.
Yeah, good to see you, Edward. And well, we will celebrate our first anniversary next week. But the 52nd episode is 1 year now, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm looking at the calendar here, and where was it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so but we won't celebrate today. We will celebrate next week, but with a very special guest, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have to change clothes then and put something weird on.
Why?
I don't know, or something for
to celebrate
the festivities.
Yeah, sure.
Some props or something. Or
yeah. Well, let's think about it. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So, but how is it, Edward? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks. Today, last week, it was a very busy week. I had a lot of appointments at night, and we had a fair again this weekend. Mm-hmm. So that was nice. And bad weather, but people were happy to wanting to celebrate their wedding. So that is something that makes me happy. So yeah.
Well, nice job.
And you?
Yeah, doing fine, man. I just got home from watching the World
first
Cup game of Holland, the Netherlands.
Of course.
Well, it was awful, to be honest. We're recording this on Monday evening, so not that people think that I don't know what day it is, but it was awful. So I hope, we will we will grow into the tournament, as we
course,
Dutchies always
it's the
say.
first
but,
game.
Yeah, but
right?
It was awful, man. I mean, it's so many things went wrong, and there was no vision, there was no power, no tactics, nothing. So I'm sounding really depressed, right?
Yeah. but that means Louis van Gaal is going to
I mean,
to talk with them about it. And
in Brazil, it was sort of the same.
Okay.
In South Africa, it was also sort of the same. The first couple of matches always are a bit difficult, but I don't know, man. I was at the local bar here, which I always attend, watching football games, and I said to my friends, man, I said, well, next Friday I will be here again, but it has to be way better, because otherwise the game against Qatar I will watch from my own couch, because when it's that bad I can always do something else, right? So
well, we have the best trainer, Stef. So
but
on the whole World Cup. So
sure. But you know us Dutchies, right? I mean, Louis van Gaal himself, our coach, is saying, we are going to be world champion because England doesn't have the flow. France is missing Benzema. You know, all those kinds of things. And then I was like, okay, well, let's see how we do then.
Yeah,
and then it was awful. So I'm now hoping that we just accomplished to come to the next round. Even
it's nice to win with great football, but with great, indeed. So you need to be entertained, and it's I hope that.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that from you.
No. It's
no football lover you are.
Yeah, but Louis van Gaal has a secret place with me, because when I was young, then I watched football every time. I really knew every name. It was the time of Louis van Gaal, and I really watched every game. And then I turned over to tennis. And now I'm just too busy to. But really, if they're going to be further in the competition, then I really am going to watch, of course.
Yeah, but it's also strange, man. It's in the middle of the winter, you know. It's dark outside. That's right. It's
because how many degrees was it there in this stadium?
Well, in the stadium, I don't know, because I heard they had they were air conditioned. So
yeah, they can make it 23 degrees.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, here in Holland, you know, normally I'm celebrating in the garden with a barbecue on and some ice cold beers.
Different.
You know, it's totally different. So. The whole vibe is missing, to be honest. But okay. Enough about football. No song. Enough about football. Who do we have as a guest today, Edward?
We have this week. It's a well-known name, I think. Christian Dekker. He's a core tech engineer at Blockstream.
Yeah.
So we earlier we had an episode with Rusty Russell. Was also a great episode, and now from Australia, I think. Yeah. And now with Christian Dekker. So
we had Nifty on the show.
Curious. Oh yeah, Nifty. That's also, right.
Yeah. So really nice guy, man. Really easy to talk to, and looking forward to the interview. But as always, Edward, we have to talk a little bit about the statistics of the Lightning Network and about our Rings of Fire community. So let's do that first.
Connect the world.
So looking at the stats of our Ring of Fire community, we added slightly more than half a Bitcoin, 52 million sats.
Yeah.
So last week we had 55.93 Bitcoin and pushed into the Lightning Network, and this week it's 46.45.
Yeah, it's like everything is normal.
We're just continuing opening those rings.
Indeed.
With around 1,554 members participating in over 208 rings.
Nice. And we're now at block height 764,130. And if we look at the Lightning Network as a whole, we use the statistics brought to you by amboss.space. There are 16,898 nodes out there and 5,140 Bitcoin inside the network.
And today's value of 1 million Satoshis is $161, 156 euros, and 1,153 Chinese yuan.
Connetti il mondo.
And then some highlighted news from last week brought to you by the Daily Moon. I've added some interesting things from Daily Moon. Let's first start with LN Bits because they launched a web shop full of complete LN point of sale kits, and I've surfed around their web shop. It's really great because we also saw one at the Bitcoin Amsterdam conference. We had one in our hands, and Jesse from his name is Jesse de Wit. We had him in an earlier episode, and he was demonstrating how it works, and it's so great. So now everybody can buy it themselves and pay with. I saw pounds, but it's also possible perhaps to buy it with Bitcoin. It would be nice.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, but I don't
Stef,
see
the
it.
famous Fossa, is also there.
Oh, I thought you would say the Bitcoin Switch Lightning Grabber
Also,
machine.
yeah, the
kit.
grabber machine. Yeah, I was going to do that. And on my Twitter account, I have the movie where you are playing with the arcade machine and winning
perfect.
some of the stamps, right? The buy Bitcoin stamps.
And I see also here Bitcoin Switch Lightning Sweet Dispenser Kit. That's a good one for me because when I don't buy it at all, but when I have, because when people come over or something, I love to have some sweets, M&Ms.
Of course.
But when the bag is open, I can eat it all in once. And when I put all those things into all the M&Ms into those sweet dispenser kit, it will cost me a lot of Lightning sets. So yeah, I think we'll.
And it makes it more
one.
fun, right? And the arcade machine also.
But I'm looking at the price now, $25 or something. I mean, it's very cheap.
It is. Well, you need to assemble it yourself.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think that's great because then you buy all the material you need, and you can do it yourself. So have some fun and getting busy experimenting with it.
But
and,
with Christmas around the corner, I think this will be a
nice
very
gifts.
nice. And in Holland we have a Sinterklaas.
Yes, it's Sinterklaas.
Yeah, but I mean $25. I mean, would be a nice present to give away.
The momentum is great, and if someone has the time to play with it, then by all means, stop over at the shop at LN Bits. Really great. And then Set Scrap. I love the name. Scar City, right? From Aryan Jabari and Chris. The online marketplace for Bitcoin goods and Bitcoin NFTs. And they launched a marketplace to sell everything in exchange for Bitcoin. So users can list or purchase products immediately and always maintain their privacy. So no KYC, no registration or something. And just put your stuff up there and buy it from the marketplace.
So this will be something like a Silk Road on steroids then.
I hope it's not going that path, but you never know. No.
I'm looking at it now. I see some shoes. I see a nice PSG jersey. Well, a Dyson Airwrap.
That could be
the
nice.
hairdryer.
Yeah.
Sony PlayStation 4. Well, you can list practically everything then.
Everything. It's Craigslist is the same, right? But then in the US we have Marktplaats.
Yeah, sure.
In Dutch, but this is great. I love the name, so please check it out. And I've put it all in the show notes, of course.
Yep.
And then Neutron Pay. And Neutron Pay is a platform and Lightning-powered API to accept payments and payouts worldwide. And they have also a mobile app that targets consumers in Canada and Vietnam. And they tweeted a video where someone in Vietnam is buying a taco using the app and of course paying with Lightning. I've added all the links also. And then one update interesting to mention. Keat was, I mentioned it earlier episode, I think. It's, Bitfinex and Tether launched the alpha of Keat.io. And it's a peer-to-peer chat and video app built with the Holepunch platform. And that's a platform which only shares end-to-end encrypted data between participants in your calls. So without a middleman, third parties or servers. And they now created also the support for QR codes for Lightning invoices. And they have a nice video of someone using it. So check it out.
Yeah. Do you want to read more and stay up to date about everything related to Lightning, the news and updates? Then head over to tdm.news and follow the Daily Moon on Twitter or Telegram.
Verbinden die
vote.
Yeah, so we opened quite a lot of rings last week, but we didn't manage to balance any. But we finished one, so it was pretty a pretty nice week. We finished, so not balanced. We were not able to balance it, but we finished the 10 million Satoshi's 12th ring with participants from USA, Canada. Oh no, it's not Canada. Italy, Austria, Belgium, and is Cuba, right? Or
Yeah, I think. Or is it Ecuador? No.
no? Well,
You're going to search it now. Right?
yeah, I'm going to search it. Yeah, Cuba.
Cuba. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So yeah, we finished that one. And I just opened a very spectacular ring. I just opened. Let me check. It was the second 50 million Satoshi's ring. So half a Bitcoin liquidity per participant, only for the more experienced node operator. Little disclaimer, guys. But nice to see that one filling up. So yeah,
great. Thanks again, Stef. And
thank you, Ed.
Yeah, let's go to the lightning notes.
Let's do it.
Collect the build.
Make sure to secure your home network. So change default passwords and use two-factor authentication where possible. And keep your software up to date. It's also very important. Please keep in mind that the whole Lightning network is very experimental. Software like MyNode, Umbrel, Raspberry Blitz, for example, and many others, and LND also, are still in beta phase. Don't blindly run terminal commands on your node if you don't understand them yourself, and especially when prefixed with sudo. And the last one is also very important. Don't use Satoshis that you're not willing to lose. So if you're not aware of all security considerations, then read into it. Educate yourself, read articles, ask for help in Telegram groups with high reputation like ours, and listen to podcasts and learn by doing. Otherwise, don't participate.
Also, you can stay informed by following us on Twitter. You can find us at Satoshi Radio ROF. And follow our Lightning leader, Jonī Kyasshu. Join our Telegram groups, Satoshi Radio, Ring of Fire, and Connect the World. And check our website, satoshi.radio. It would be nice for you to be part of our Amboss community. You can find us there on Satoshi Radio. And like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Use Podcasting 2.0 to listen to Connect the World. And you can check SAT trading for the current value. You can find all this information, of course, also in the show notes as well.
All right, let's get on to the show. Conecta el mundo.
Oh, welcome, Christian.
Welcome, Christian.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Those questions can be very
nice
hard.
To meet you.
We could tell by the look of your face.
And I think you play guitar or you sing, or because now I want to hear the song, of course.
I'll have to ask my partner. She plays guitars.
Yeah, I see the guitar there.
A couple of them in the background.
A couple. They're also on the floor, right? We're only seeing the one that's hanging on the wall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I see that.
So there's.
Look at that.
There's a couple of them.
Great.
That's nice.
But I don't play myself. I have two left hands.
You sing, right?
Of course, I'm an amazing metal growler.
And what kind of music does she play then? Because those aren't electrical guitars. So
there is a couple of electrical guitars and one acoustic guitar. So a bit of mix of everything. Awesome. I would say.
Okay. And you were using a self-service Lightning tab back in 2018 already. Our founding father, Bart Mol, he just finished our own Satoshi Radio Lightning Bear tab. But we thought, when we saw that there was already one working back in 2018, we were like, whoa, that's very early, man. How come that we didn't know? Obviously, we know the ones from Fulmo, and we also use them a lot, right? At the Bitcoin Amsterdam conference. But 2018, that's some long time ago, man.
Yeah, there was a company here in Zurich that was promoting themselves as becoming Lightning integrators for companies, Puzzle ITC, and they invited me to their call it Christmas dinner, and I gave a presentation there. And also got to test the beer tap before that. So
and you never stopped testing.
my talk might not have been the most coherent one after the beer tap.
Oh, nice, man. And talking about talks, we saw that you gave a masterclass about the Lightning Network at Plan B Forum in Lugano. How was the conference? And more important, obviously, how was your talk?
So for me, it was very much a homecoming because I grew up in Lugano. I went to school in Lugano, and so it was a very nice opportunity for me to see the sort of hunting grounds from my childhood again. The conference itself was very nice. I had never seen the conference place from inside, and so I only skated in front of it, never inside. And the police would usually chase me away while doing so. But no, the conference was really good, very good vibe, and beautiful scenery, absolutely beautiful. I could not have imagined a better weather and location for an October conference. And of course, just meeting all the people where I thought I'd never talk much Bitcoin at all, namely where my parents live, was a very nice change. And getting to speak Italian, of course, is always nice.
That's perfect. Yeah. We found out that you grew up like a real Italian, right? Or some sort of a real Italian.
It's always a bit of a question.
You're only missing the hand gesture, man.
I can get that in as well. But it's always a bit of a dual thing with the people from Ticino, the Italian speaking part of Switzerland. Depending on what the question is, they will identify as Italian or they will identify as Swiss. But usually when it comes to finances, they will identify as Swiss.
Yeah, sure. And the scenery of Lugano, you already mentioned, is beautiful. But you said, I've never seen a conference with that nice scenery. But did you visit the Bitcoin Amsterdam back in, it was in October, right? Yeah.
That one I didn't.
Okay.
So the last time I was in Amsterdam for something Bitcoin related and not sailing related was 3 years ago for a meetup in your beautiful. Is it the Opera House?
I think it is. Yeah.
That's also an amazing location. So absolutely beautiful. And of course, I do love the Amsterdam inner city. It's very nice.
So we now have a cheese challenge because because you didn't prefer our cheese, but maybe when you visit Bitcoin Amsterdam next year, we can also challenge you about the scenery, right? So,
I'm open to be convinced. That's not the issue.
Well,
so
we'll make sure.
Bring it on, cheese.
And then with the beer tap and cheese.
Using the beer tap makes the whole world more beautiful, right? So
a cheese tap with string cheese.
Well, we can hack one. In your bio on Twitter, by the way, you stated Bitcoin enthusiast from 2009. That's very early. What were you doing with Bitcoin back then? Because I looked it up. I looked at your profile up at the Bitcoin forum, which is amazing that it's still accessible. Obviously, that's the nice thing about those things. And I saw that you also were very active on the forum back. I think it was starting from 2010. But maybe you can talk a little bit more about that period.
Yeah, so at the time I was just doing my master's in computer science with a focus on distributed computing, and so my mindset was already pretty much there. At the time, I was mostly working on BitTorrent, which is a different peer-to-peer protocol that some of your listeners might know too. And so I stumbled over this paper on some obscure blog, and I essentially found that it very much meshes with my own interests. So I decided to look into it, and it slowly became a hobby. And essentially, this hobby later on became my full-time job once I started my Ph.D. on scalability and security of Bitcoin.
So that's great, Christian. But have you ever had the chance to talk to Satoshi Nakamoto himself, being that active on the forum, or?
Well, not in person, but we exchanged several messages over the years, and I have the dubious honor of being one of the few people called an idiot by Satoshi due to some of my proposals that I had for how to improve the Bitcoin network.
That's perfect.
It's quite common for newly joined people to come up with some strange ideas that in hindsight are not that good. But we all have to make those learnings. And I'm actually quite proud of my interactions with Satoshi, including being called an idiot.
Satoshi calling you an idiot is on the forum, or was it in your direct messages? Can we verify it? I mean, is the whole
there
world...
must be a public post somewhere. I think it was something regarding a proposal that I had for making the Bitcoin network more structured, to make communication patterns inside of the network more efficient. And I think that's the one where he said, Decker, you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
But I would have to dig it up to verify.
Oh, perfect, man. Well, I think it's a compliment, Christian. Come on, let's just say it's a compliment.
I'm interested in your answer to that, of course. But perhaps back then you were thinking,
yeah, no, he was right after all, and so there's little I could have replied other than okay, point taken.
Yeah.
That's a nice quote, man. Hey, well, Christian, you're doing an awesome job at Blockstream, working on C Lightning or Core Lightning, as you guys are calling it right now. And we really want to talk about your work at Blockstream and about your vision on the Lightning Network, and to verify if you're the idiot that Satoshi is calling you, of course. No, just kidding.
Hopefully I learned something.
Yeah. No, but for real, we're really interested in having a 21 minutes during interview with you. Guys, if you guys are ready, we would like to enter that part. Are you guys ready?
Sounds good, yeah.
All right,
perfect.
Let's do it.
Connect the world.
Let's start with Blockstream. Yeah, they're aiming to be global leader in Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and Core Lightning will have its share then in the financial infrastructure of the future. That's the goal. And what is your role for the initial release then for C Lightning, now called Core Lightning? And can you tell us a little bit more about the scenery in 2015-16?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the paper coming out in 2015, for a while, there was nobody actually planning to work on it. Joseph and Taj had had other jobs and were playing with the idea, but they hadn't intended to found a company to work on it explicitly. And so when Blockstream, which at that time was about 1 year old, came across the idea, they said that this is something that is helping the ecosystem, that brings us forwards, that finally is an answer to some questions we've been running into for a long time, and so we need to make sure that this exists. And so when my colleague Rusty joined Blockstream, he had previously written a blog post about how to actually implement Lightning. Not just the abstract concept that was presented in a paper, but actual steps to get it working. And so he was then tasked to take his ideas and make them become a reality. And when I joined about 1 year later, he already had the scaffolding in place with a couple of things that we needed to add, like a wallet and storage across restarts. And so I joined in 2016 to essentially continue my Ph.D. work on scalability and security of Bitcoin. And the Lightning network is a natural continuation of that work. My last work during the PhD actually being a competing layer 2 protocol. And so when I joined, we started implementing the missing pieces. We then organized the 2016 Lightning Network specification meetup in Milan with Eclair, with Async, Lightning Labs, Blockstream, and the Japanese company Nayuta along. And we decided, hey, everybody has done different experimentations. Let's now come back to the table and build a unified specification that with which we build one big contiguous network instead of many small networks that compete with each other. And so my goal in all of this was to essentially join, work on the specification, and make it a reality as part of Core Lightning. And that's sort of the target. That's a goal that has always driven Core Lightning, is to advance the specification.
And talking about goals, one of your goals with Blockstream and Lightning in general is to reduce the reliance on trust when using the Lightning Network. Why is this so important, and especially when you compare it to the fiat world?
I think one of the, if not the core innovation that Bitcoin brought along is the ability to disintermediate some of the interactions that we have day to day, whether that's me paying for a coffee or paying my Netflix subscription. The more intermediaries we have in between, the more possibilities for failures we have, the more possibilities for trust being abused we have. And that is those concerns are something that we all are paying, right? We all are paying FDIC insurance. We all are paying credit card fees for it to work as smooth as it appears from the outside. And I think something that is very common to all of the Bitcoin related projects is that we want to minimize the risk of us having to pay for something that we generally don't want. Some intermediaries having the ability to run away with our funds is sort of the go-to example, right? And so if we can eliminate them, we can reduce the insurances that we have to pay in order to smooth over these issues, and the more efficient we can make the financial system. So it is for us to simplify and make the network the financial system more smooth by reducing trust in third parties that might pose single points of failure.
And if we talk a little bit about the Blockstream Jade, it's an open source hardware wallet for storage of Bitcoin and liquid assets. So giving the whole the hardware to the people and then secure it themselves. And the Jade difference is that they don't use a secure element to store the encrypted version of the seed. And Blockstream invented another new solution for it. Can you explain how it works and what the advantages are compared to storing the seed on the device itself?
So the seed is still stored on the device itself. It just isn't in an enclosed chip called a secure element. And that's because of the secure element guards first and foremost against physical attacks. So that's attacks where an attacker gets physical access to the device and sort of pries it open and then goes with a microphone and then probes to figure out what your secret is. And the reason why a secure element was avoided in this case is, first of all, it's very expensive. The vast majority of your hardware wallets that you buy that have a secure element, the vast majority of cost goes into the secure element. The secure element also isn't introspectable. They are proprietary chips that nobody can independently verify, and you're not even allowed to delete them and look at stuff, because that will essentially trigger the self-destruct mechanism for those secure elements.
We don't want that.
And so while it is very good at guarding against physical attacks, it's by no means the only attack scenario that might be risky. So what Jade decided is, and Green, the software wallet for Android and iOS, was to essentially replace the secure element by a second factor authentication. So all of the funds that are on a Jade are on a 2 of 3 multi-sig address. And one of those keys, let's call it the main key, is on the device itself. And that's where you sign off on a physical device. And then we have a secondary device that is a secondary system that is a second key that is running on our server, and that can enforce things like like a second factor, receiving an SMS, or enforcing some policy. Only when those extra steps are ensured will our server co-sign the transaction itself, and only then will the transaction be valid in the first place. So, for example, you could have a policy that allows you to spend a coffee every day, and the server will ensure, even if somebody else gets access to your signer and extracts the keys, they can sign a transaction, but it will be missing that second factor. So through that second factor, you can essentially reconstitute the physical security. And finally, since some people might be wondering, hey, what if the server goes down? We are making sure that you always have the chances of recovering those funds by sending you the third out of these three keys, and that you can put into cold storage and then do an offline recovery. So even if the Blockstream servers go away, you can still recover access to your funds without having to interact with us.
So you partnered with Breez, the wallet, to integrate Blockstream's Greenlight solution, which is a new service to provide simple, secure access to the Lightning Network, allowing anyone to spin up the Lightning node in the cloud while retaining the complete control over their funds, which is very important, obviously. Is using a Lightning node in the cloud the next logical step for wallets in the hands of mainstream people?
I think so, very much, yes. So as many people listening to this channel will probably attest, it's not quite trivial to set up a Lightning node, especially when you want a well-kept Lightning node. And as a Lightning community, we always have this tendency of shaming people into having to learn all of the details, like this 1,000-page tome of details about what Bitcoin is, what Lightning is, how to manage liquidity, and so on and so forth, before even letting them have a go at Lightning, right? And that will put so many people off. It's very easy for us to scare away interested people that would otherwise be excellent participants in the Lightning Network, simply by overwhelming them with the details. And so what Greenlight is an attempt to essentially provide an easy first experience for users that might be interested. And the user experience that we are trying to provide is essentially the same that you get when downloading Cash App, or you download Twilio, or you download any other app from an app store. So you download the app, you maybe get shown 12 words or 24 words from receipt phrase. And once you've noted them down, your node is essentially set up, because we take care of all of the difficult infrastructure management, such as the databases, watchtowers, backups, and Bitcoin connectivity. And so you get to play right away with the Lightning Network without having to first learn all of the details about it. And now, once you have had a good experience, I think is the right time to actually incentivize people to learn more about the details of Lightning, get more accustomed to what needs to be done. And eventually, once we have educated them enough, we can actually give them their node and have them self-hosted. So for us, it's a very nice way of showing the potential, educating people, and eventually offboarding them into the self-sovereign version of a Lightning node, essentially.
Yeah.
And so I do think that this node in the cloud setup is very nice, also because it allows for much more flexibility, right? It allows you to attach many applications against a single node. You don't have to split your funds across many different nodes just because you run a chat app here and a payment app here. It doesn't mean that you sort of split it off. But in all of this, as you pointed out, the core important part is that we never ever get to touch keys.
Okay.
And so with Greenlight, one of the things that we do is we always keep keys with the user. And whenever the node itself needs to have a signature, we stream that request over to the client where you can independently verify, and that's automated. It independently verifies that whatever we are trying to sign off on actually originates from an authenticated and authorized front end. And so while the stuff is running on our infrastructure, you don't have to trust us to do anything.
Cool.
That's important, yeah. And getting inbound liquidity is becoming easier with solutions like Magma from Amboss, Flow from Voltage, and open a dual-funded channel, for instance, with Boss. And there are many other possibilities.
Ring of Fire.
Yeah, Ring of Fire, of course.
Liquidity ads.
Yeah, liquidity ads. Oh, man. Do you believe this will become even more user-friendly? So, or do you think that the current method for opening, closing channels and perceiving bidirectional liquidity would change dramatically in the coming years of core developments?
Oh, without any doubt, it will become simpler. So right now, with all of the different technologies you and I just mentioned, we are definitely in one of these experimentation phases where we all go into different paths and see what kind of works and what doesn't. And there will be a sort of convergence back into a single, bigger system that allows us to take advantage of all of the good parts and do away with all of the difficult parts. So I do think that we are learning, after all, from all of this experimentation, and these learnings will definitely help us improve in the future. And while right now it might seem very disparate and very diverse, many share some common concepts that allow us to then merge them back again into a more cohesive system that takes advantage of everything we might want to use.
Mm-hmm. And not so long ago, I heard Alex Borsworth speak about the possibility of being able to set both outbound and inbound fees on your channels. What do you think about this idea?
So, in general, I am not a fan of adding complexity to an already complex system, and I think we do have quite a bit of flexibility already in how we can set policies for fees. And I'd rather try to exhaust them before adding new things that might obscure the learnings. Right, the more knobs you have to turn, the less you can actually infer that, hey, I saw this effect that was a result of me turning this knob, right? And so I'd rather defer on extending the flexibility of this until we have characterized the current system. But it might add some additional flexibility that might be required and desired by users. So I'm definitely not somebody who is enthusiastic about these new things as many others are, because people like to play around with this stuff. But I also wouldn't say that it's pointless and doesn't have a reason to exist. I'm just worried about the complexity that we are actually imposing on users by giving them more configuration options that might totally confuse them. And especially when it comes to incoming and outgoing fees, I have a feeling that we can emulate the same sort of flexibility with the current system. So it might be a flexibility win on paper, but in reality, it might not be. Though I don't have proof of that just yet.
Interesting.
And in May 2018, you published the Eltoo proposal together with Rusty and Roastbeef. Let's start from the perspective of users who already use the Lightning Network with a mobile wallet and those who already have a Lightning node running. What's the big difference for those users when it gets implemented?
So I wouldn't be sure that adopting Eltoo would have an immediately recognizable effect for end users. After all, it is very much a drop-in replacement for the current update mechanism that we have in Lightning. So you might be able to just continue using your node as is without any degradation. But you would see some changes under the hood. For example, watchtowers now get much, much easier to build because you don't have to sort of store all previous states. You just store the latest one, right? So essentially reducing the memory requirements and traffic requirements for watchtowers to be constant instead of always growing. The other thing is that us as protocol developers, we can now make much better use of a clean separation between layers. So we could build more interesting contracts on top of Eltoo that we couldn't in the current Lightning update mechanism because of the penalty that is in there. That usually has a tendency of leaking into whatever we build on top of it. By building on top of it, I mean stuff like HTLCs and more advanced contracts like DLCs. So cleaner separation there would be very helpful. And thirdly, for end users, it would probably be a big advantage because backups are now non-deadly. So the problem we have with the current Lightning Network is that if you have a backup of an old node and you then restore it, you cannot actually go online with that without risking that it is actually an old state and you might be penalized for publishing it. And of course, the big feature that gets me excited the most is that we can get multi-party channels. So the Lightning Network channels are currently limited to 2 participants. And with Eltoo, we can end up in a situation where we can have 15 of 15 or 99 of 99, depending on what signing primitives we use. I think Music does away with all of these limits. So those are exciting times where we can actually do some really, really cool stuff. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it.
Sure.
Awesome.
We are also excited, right, Edward?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And at the Bitcoin Amsterdam conference, we asked a couple of our guests the question, how will you know when the Lightning Network has succeeded? And Sergey Kolitlaria from Bitrefill said, when you don't hear the word Lightning anymore. It looks like he is focusing on onboarding process and that in the end, people just don't even know that they are using Lightning. Do you agree with him or what's your take on it?
Absolutely. Look, Lightning, as cool as it is for now, for us geeks to dig in, it is also very intimidating for non-geeks. And while exposing all of the internals that we have right now to the end user might be an acceptable thing to do, that would also keep us from having a mainstream adoption. And so I think the more we abstract away from the details, the more we automate, the more we hide the technical details underneath it, the better it is for mainstream adoption and the better it is for us as a system to essentially make a financial system that connects everybody on the world with everybody else on the world without intermediaries. Are we ourselves actually aware that we're using Swift networks when transferring? No. Those details are hidden from us for our own safety and state of mind.
Yeah. That's a nice ending. Stef, do you think I can ask one question?
Well, maybe one more, right?
Well, perhaps about René Picard. It could be a nice ending. He mentioned in our show in episode 49 that more research is needed with the Lightning space within. And do you agree that a lot more work or research needs to be done for the Lightning Network to grow further?
Absolutely. I am myself, I do have an academic background and I keep in touch with academia and industry research quite a bit, simply because I think that the more scrutiny goes into the Lightning Network, the better we can secure it, the better we can optimize it, and the better we can make sure that it has the characteristics that we'd like. And we can detect defects very early on.
Yeah.
In this sense, I am very much of the mind that the sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we need to expose the Lightning Network to as much sunlight as possible, because this system, we want this system to be a long-term solution, not just some fad that somebody with a good marketing budget put out there.
No.
So more beer taps and more
Yeah. So
more use cases.
That's also why I'm very open to discussing downsides of the Lightning Network, is because if we don't discuss upsides and downsides, we're doing marketing not science.
That's right.
Yeah. Totally agree.
We had a lot of more questions, right, Stef?
Yeah. And also some very nice ones. I mean, oh man.
Yeah. I was choosing one from the other, and we definitely need you back on the show another time, so we're going to arrange that. And it was great
talking to you.
Talking to you. Yeah, indeed.
Oh, it was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so
世界に
much.
つなぐ
We still have one question left for you, Christian,
Yeah,
actually.
that's right.
So see it as a goodbye gift to you. No, but last week we had Moritz Kaminski on the show. He's the co-founder of LB. And here he goes.
Here he goes,
And LB is obviously a Bitcoin Lightning app for the web browser. So we asked Moritz to come up with a question for you. Edward will play the audio file, and then you have some time to answer it.
Okay, here it comes.
So I know his favorite wallet is a like more or less like self-built core Lightning wallet. But what is his favorite Lightning web app that he would recommend to new users or to new Lightning users?
And it can't be LB. No.
No, of course,
Just kidding.
marketing.
I was about to say Albi, but as far as I know, Albi doesn't have Greenlight support yet, so that will have to wait. I think when it comes to wallets, probably I am pretty boring, not adventurous at all, and I will usually default to either using Spark with a C Lightning node or Zeus for a C Lightning node. Although for management, RTL is usually what I go for. But the absolute ultimate web app that everybody needs to try out, they will have to have a testnet node, is Starblocks. Okay. So that's a test shop set up by Asank about in 2018, I think. And it's a very nice interaction. And since I always make buying a coffee my go-to example, going to Starblocks, .async.co is usually how I can demonstrate, yes, this stuff is actually working.
Perfect.
All right.
And I see Edward is typing, so I
yeah,
assume
I'm typing for the show notes because this is an interesting one. Everybody's going to try it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Hey, in 2 weeks, we have a new guest. His name is Mike Jarmus. He's the general partner at Lightning Ventures. And we want to ask him also a question from you. Do you have something for him?
Yes, absolutely. So I myself am not very deep into the venture side of Lightning, being more of the tech dummy. So something that always crossed my mind was what are the principal signals for you to get interested into a company, whether it's for investment or just following up. Is it more the team? Is it the technology, or is it the public appearance, as in marketing and public perception, that sort of shapes your decision on whether to invest or whether to follow along or whether to engage with a company?
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. We will ask him, and you should listen to our show. But we heard that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. So
apparently I doxed myself to being the only subscriber in the
last week.
Time period in question. So
it can be a bit tricky.
I need more cover traffic. Everybody should subscribe.
Let's arrange it. Yeah, indeed.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a nice one. We're gonna cut it out.
No. We will use it. No.
Yeah.
But where can people follow you, Christian? On Twitter maybe, or a website, or the things you're working on right now?
So I'm most active on GitHub, where I'm CU Decker, and of course Twitter, where I'm at SNYKE Snike. It's an old gaming name, so that's where it comes from.
I looked it up, but I couldn't find it. Where you originated it from? So, but it's an old game name.
Yeah, it used to be my nickname in the Italian Counter-Strike League.
Okay, cool, cool,
nice.
I couldn't find
for some reason
about
that
it. So
stuff keeps sticking around. So
that's strange, right? Yeah.
cover tracks is difficult.
But yeah,
Christian,
those are
thanks
probably
again.
the best venues to find me, and looking forward to seeing more interactions.
Perfect.
Yeah, indeed. And thanks to everybody listening. Thanks to all members participating in the Rings of Fire. And of course, thanks to everyone helping to connect the world with us together. So if you like our content, then please support us in our mission. Visit our website, connecttheworld.live. And you can also donate there. Subscribe, like, and share our content on your favorite platform. We need you to complete our mission, connect the world. So keep those nodes running, sats flowing, and rings burning. And see you all next week on the anniversary of our Lightning channel. So
we're going to
great.
celebrate, Eddie.
Yeah, indeed. Arrivederci, Christian.
Auf Wiedersehen.
And till next time.
Sláinte.